podcast. My name is Monica Hoyer. I am the marketing director at emfluence. Emfluence is a marketing automation platform that seamlessly integrates with Microsoft Dynamics and Power Apps. And I'm excited to be here today to talk to all of you about email marketing, marketing automation, content, supercharging your marketing. Barbara, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself and then get this presentation started.
Thanks, Monica. So, yes, I'm Barbara Pfeiffer. I have spent 20, no, maybe 30 years now marketing in the technology channel. TPMG is a B2B marketing services firm specifically for the software and technology channel. And we provide a number of services, including content creation, campaign development, social media marketing, and strategic planning and support, amongst other things. So with that, let's jump right in to the first section, which is campaign content. And the very first tip is to think about building customer ebooks. We all know how compelling customer stories can be and how much time and effort they take to create. So you really want to get the maximum use out of it. Consider creating a customer story ebook. You can take case studies that you have already, shorten them, pull out some of the compelling stats and quotes that may be buried a little bit deeper, add in a nice introduction and cover, and you have a theme to bring it all together, and you have a really compelling piece for your campaigns. Next up, we'll talk about building a content hub. This is one of my really passionate things I'm passionate about. Buyers consume content in so many different ways. So when you're creating a new piece of content, think about what other pieces you might be able to create on that same topic or theme. So I share one idea here where you have a foundational piece like an ebook, and then you can pull content from that, maybe into a video or an article or an infographic. And think about the different stages of the sales cycle when you're building a content hub, because you'll have people coming in at the top that just need some general education. And then you want stuff that's going to help people make that decision to buy. But thinking of it as a hub instead of a single piece of content can be very helpful. You also want to think about creating reader centric messaging. There's a lot here, and I actually provided a link to a study, which I'm going to mention. You want reader centric content that avoids jargon. Use plain language that really communicates what the reader wants to know. So I think for all of us, a fairly common message we see in technology marketing would be a statement about how many years of experience you have. But how would that impact me as a customer? For example, does it lead to shorter implementation times? If so, say that. Then go a step further if you can with more details. And this is the research that I'm referencing, but it shows that it's the telling details that drive a purchase decision. So think about what we just said, how does it impact me as a customer, shorter implementation times? Can you implement the solution 30% faster than other companies? That's a telling detail, and that can really help people stay engaged with your content and be very convincing in terms of, reaching out to you. Now, next slide. One of the key things that I think we always say it's so much easier to edit than create, and it is almost impossible to come up with topics sometimes. So use tools to help you find content ideas. So any of these tools like Uber Suggest or SEM Rush, you can see what people are searching for and what they're talking about. And a really good brain dump of that will help you as you think about creating new content topics. Now, when it comes to content, one of the really most compelling types of content is original research. It is certainly harder to pull off, but it goes such a long way. Thinking back to that content hub, all of the information that can come from original research that you've done is going to be very compelling. So use survey tools to collect data from your customer and prospects. Try and focus on a specific theme, possibly a functional area, for example, expenses or tax solutions. And then again, make sure you use all that research in blog posts and visuals and other pieces that you create. Now, another tip for developing content is to really think about working with others because it can really reduce the amount of time you spend and it can add some credibility, especially if you're going to bring in industry leaders or associations. Think about even if you were going to do a research study, if you had three partners that you were working with that are non-competitive, now you're all sending that survey out to your own customer and client databases. So, what a great way to start to work with other partners. Consider all your partner opportunities when you do that. I just threw some up here that I think are obvious. Certainly, ISVs are big. But also think about non-competitive partners like non-technology partners, lawyers and accountants and other professional services companies. Ask one question of all these people and you have a great ebook right there.
Or a webinar, right, Barbara?
Or a webinar. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Also invest in visual content. I've used this slide so often, so I don't know who's on this call, but you've probably seen this before. It really does though drive home how incredible visual content can be over a text description. Particularly to me, when we talk about technology, if you can use visual content like a use case or an infographic or a process diagram, it will probably drive the point you're trying to make a lot faster than people having to read two paragraphs of what your methodology is. So always think about investing in visual content when you're building your content hubs. So one example is just to show you, because I mentioned use case and not everybody has created those. It's a great way to visually share a process or even a customer story. So if you have a customer that's not really able to go public, but you've done something really compelling, you can share it in a use case. You could also share a typical customer experience. So bring together, four or five different customers that you've worked with on implementing a solution and put it into this type of visual piece to really show what it is that you can do. Now, we just talked about visual content. Another tip, and it is a little bit more on visual as well, is to focus on creativity and how you share your content. And by that, I mean how it's presented. And you could do this for any basic topic, even top 10 challenges in logistics is your webinar or your ebook, but you could be much more creative with theme and design and copy. This is an example from Dassault Systems. They are a global company and they do 3D modeling, simulation platform, and a suite of tools. And that was a mouthful right there. But a Dassault client was using their solution to build a thermonuclear power plant. That's actually a multi-decade project. So you can imagine this is a really big deal. And so for Dassault, they were like, we need to tell everybody about this wonderful thing. And they came up with a great headline, I thought, which is putting the sun in a box. But when they went to market, this picture that you see, which is pretty much from their website, was kind of how they brought everything to market. On the right, you see a slightly different approach. Same headline, which was again super creative, but now a visual that's really going to stop somebody if they're scrolling or if it shows up in their inbox or a social media feed. So, again, think about how you can be creative in terms of how you present the content that you have. That's one example where a more creative theme was applied. Being more creative can also be as simple as the images you select and the colors you use. Scroll through your LinkedIn feed, you'll probably see 50% or more are blue and are using almost the same type of imagery. So that's a way to say, wait, what did I pause on in LinkedIn? Oh, I see. This is a creative approach. Then there's been a lot of study on content headlines focused on B2B and technology marketing, even going way back to when the Content Marketing Institute first started. The good news about that is that we know what resonates with readers in this space. And this is not meant to be a complete list. And I'm guessing not a lot of these are big surprises to the people on this call. But if you take this list and kind of use it as your guide, then add in your own theme and then remember that content hub, because all of these pieces could potentially fit into one overreaching target topic that you're doing a hub around. And then interview your experts. So you can create some really compelling content by interviewing the subject matter experts within your company. It could be podcasts, short videos, and then you can pull clips even from webinars that you've done. Distribute these everywhere. So blogs, a topic page on your website, social media, but also even in an email, a short little clip that people can listen to is going to be more engaging. Okay, with that,
Awesome.
we're going
Thank
to
you.
switch
There's
over. Thanks, Monica.
Barbara, I think I even learned some stuff in that. So thank you so much for all of that information. So
Thank you.
one of the campaigns on the email and marketing automation and that is essential in your toolkit is this welcome campaign. And I'm just going to throw a few samples up here. Basically, it's just give people a reason to know that they have subscribed to your list and welcome them and tell them exactly how you're going to be communicating with them through email. Here's on the Miro one, it's here are 3 ways to get started. On Fiverr, it's here are top services. And then the Only Domains also has a 3 steps to your customer journey. So give them something to click on, give them some information about how you're going to be talking to them. It's super helpful, and it's a great way to welcome new people to your list. Another wonderful way to get feedback from your customers is through surveys. And pitching it as you're going to make us better by giving us this information is really helpful. The Miro one, again, I love Miro. It's a great tool, but it's also they do a really great job with visuals and all of their content. They say in this, please take this survey. It's only going to take you 5 minutes. That's super easy to do. Most people have 5 minutes in their day to open an email and respond to a survey. The one on the right actually has the survey questions or answers right in the email, which is super helpful as well. Emfluence has a survey tool that you can incorporate with your marketing automation platform. So you can gather all that stuff and put it into the contact record. And so you have all of that information at your fingertips. So anniversary campaigns, anniversary campaigns, birthday campaigns, these are really great reason just to reach out to somebody. Maybe somebody's been with you or on your list for a long period of time and they've cycled through all of your nurture campaigns. Well, a birthday is a really great way to re-engage with them and send them something nice, whether it's an animated GIF or a 60% off from Boozoo, or here's one that's Moo has their own birthday celebration and gives a discount. So it doesn't have to be just the customer's anniversary, either with you or their birthday if you have that information, but it can be also your birthday. You can send some discounts their way or a freebie of some sort. Personalization has been a hot topic for a long time. Personalization does require having a lot of information or at least some information about your customers. So personalization is really important. It's not just about putting the person's first name in the subject line. I've actually been starting to look into testing putting the person's name in the call to action button, either on a web page or in an email. It's not hard to do, especially in Emfluence. It's really easy to do if you have that bit of data, which everybody should have their customer's first name if they're on their email list. But then you can also customize the content based on how they found you. So folks who are brand new to Emfluence who attended this webinar, hey, we know you're interested in content and email marketing. Let's send them more information specifically about that. Also, you can customize your content based on what you know about them. So again, going back to those surveys, the information you collect there helps you customize that conversation with them. You can also customize based on zip codes. That's one of my favorite examples. You don't want to, in the winter, send a promo for sweaters to someone who lives in Hawaii, let's say, or you don't want to send in the middle of the winter a promo for someone for Hawaiian shirts to someone who maybe lives in Maine, because they're not going to be quite ready for those yet. So know who your customers are, customize the content based on what you know about them and the information that you've collected from them. Now, there are times when your list might not be performing as well as you had hoped. So re-engaging some of those subscribers who are no longer opening your emails is a really great way to kind of boost that energy again. Get rid of the folks who really aren't engaging with you anymore. This is a really cute way to do it. Listen, we don't have any hard feelings. We understand you're not ready to engage with us right now. You can always come back and subscribe. Asana has one that I really like, because it's like, hey, we know who you are. We know that you're not engaged with us right now. But by the way, here are some really great tools that we've implemented while you haven't been opening your emails. And so it really gives the customer a way to kind of pop back into your software, see what new things you have, see if it meets their needs a little bit more if they've been kind of stagnant for a while. Segmentation is super important. It also kind of goes back to that personalization, being able to segment your list based on various different things. Here, Jordy has 4 different ways to segment, and these are really great ways. There are probably 4 million different ways you can segment your list. I don't recommend doing that to start with, but really being able to segment your folks based on the city that they live in or the geography of where they live. Again, that's based on zip code. If you have that information, you can, depending on what your business does, you can segment based on a lot of different things. Gender, age, purchase usage. If you're an e-commerce company, and being able to segment folks based on what they've done in the past, that's really valuable. Instead of sending them a product that maybe they're not interested in. If you know that they only buy sweaters from you, don't send them pants promo, or send pants promo as people also buy this. But make sure you're segmenting those folks and really talking directly to them. Lead scoring is another really good way to really understand who your customers are and who are the people that might be in that purchase path, like faster than others. So there are lots of different lead scoring models out there. Emfluence has the ability to allow you to have 5 different lead scoring models, which I think is one of our differentiators in the marketplace. Most places allow you maybe 1 or 2, but we allow 5 and maybe more, but I know for sure it's 5. So here's just some samples. You can go really basic, but make sure you're lead scoring. It's a really powerful tool, and it lets you know who's ready to buy and who might be still needs to be nurtured a little bit more. So educate your subscribers. Like this is really super important. If they have downloaded a piece of content, send them an email with that content and say, hey, here's that white paper. Now, a few days later, send them a blog post that's related to that. And then once they've read that, or once they've had a few days to consume that blog post, send them a video that's related, and then another blog post, and maybe a case study. And so that really gives them the idea or the knowledge that you have a breadth of information that they can consume when they're ready to consume it. And it also positions you as a thought leader in the space. Oh, and then you can send them another blog too. Triggered campaigns. So somebody takes an action on your site. This is really super important. You can, if somebody visits your pricing page, throw them into a group in your marketing automation platform, send them an email following up. Maybe it's an email from one of their sales reps. Maybe it's an email with more detailed pricing or some specifics around the package that they were looking at. If they open that, then send them something else that's related to that. If they don't open it, send them a note saying, hey, we noticed that you visited our pricing page. Do you want to speak with somebody? Click here to schedule some time. Maybe they're not into just consuming content. Maybe they want to actually have a conversation with somebody. So take that into account when you're building all of your campaigns. But triggered campaigns are a really essential part of this conversation. A/B split testing, one of my favorite things, one of the things I love about email marketing and digital marketing itself is you can A/B split test just about everything. And in Emfluence, you can have up to five different tests that you're running at any given time. So as long as your list is big enough, send 5 different tests, figure out which one won, and then send the winner out to the rest of the list. And it's a really great way to see how people are going to react to something, how people are going to engage with your emails. Something that came across my desk recently was somebody wanted to know if they should be sending daily emails. And my recommendation was test it. Take a segment of your list, pitch to that segment a daily email and see what the reaction is. And if it's a positive reaction, if you're getting more opens and more clicks and more engagement, then roll it out to the rest of your list. If you're not, if you're getting really high unsubscribes or complaint rates, then you know that your audience can't sustain that, and so you roll it back. And don't do that daily email, but maybe next time test a weekly email instead of a monthly email. So there are lots of different things that you can test with your audience. Now we're going to roll into an overall campaign. Looks like we are still pretty good on time. Barbara, I'm going to hand the mic back over to you for the 21st tip.
Thank you, Monica. And I'm going to do my usual New York fast talking. So, first of all, one size does not fit all should kind of be the mantra of all marketers. It seems simple, but it's really important. So, you want a mix of tactics and strategies, and we know that that's really critical to your campaign, but not every tactic is going to fit every customer. So, if you have a great public speaker, then you probably want to focus your marketing and getting them out in front of prospects, webinars, videos, trade shows. If you don't have that person, it doesn't really matter what you do. Those tactics won't be as powerful for you. So almost SWOT your marketing and look at your strengths and your weaknesses and make sure that you're building your plan with that in mind. Another thing you may want to think about is adding ABM tap and account-based marketing tactics for all of your best prospects. So you've spent all this time creating a campaign, you have visuals, you have messaging. Look at your list. Are there 10 or 20 customers that you want to tweak that campaign for? And maybe just kick it up a notch. I show here high impact direct mail. They do still work, especially now that people are back in the offices. But digitally, you can do it as well with, for example, a custom landing page for each of those 10 or 20 companies that you're going to reach out to in terms of ABM. You've put the work into it. Just do that little bit extra for those special prospects that you have. Invest as much time on your landing page as you do on your campaign because good landing pages can really increase engagement. Monica just talked about, hey, we can test all these different things and all these different factors. A landing page is one of those things you're going to want to test. It has a single purpose to get a prospect to take an action, but there's such an art and science. So if you use a tool like Influence, then you're getting the best, their knowledge, all of the information that they've developed. And in those templates, you'll be able to kind of, take advantage of that. Also, going a little bit deeper, Think about your call to action. People generally just say, and I'm not saying everyone, but I've done it myself. Okay, what's our call to action? Oh, it's this ebook we have. Then we write up a quick blurb on what the ebook is. And then it's like, that's it. But little changes can make a big difference. So break your call to action apart. What is the offer? Spend time writing that in a way that's compelling. What do you want them to do? Is it subscribe, download, click here? Even think about those words. And then the action completion and the fulfillment. Are they going to fill out a form? Are they going to just download it? Are you going to send them an email with the asset that they're looking for? All of those things are important considerations in creating or crafting a CTA that's really going to get people to click. And with that, because we just talked about calls to action and landing pages, I'm going to turn it
Perfect.
back to Monica.
Perfect transition. So, I grew up in the era of newspapers being delivered on my front door and reading a newspaper actually every single day on my commute. So there's a term called above the fold, and in the email industry, we use that as well. Above the fold in the email and digital space really means where is the end, the bottom of the screen for a person. So what's going to show on their screen when they first open an email or they first look at your web page. You want your call to action to be above the fold. You want that call to action to be something that they see before they even have to scroll, because you want that to make the action as easy as possible. So, take a look at where on your web page, on your in your emails, where that call to action is. Even in your social media posts, if your call to action is all the way at the bottom, you're putting faith in the fact that somebody's going to read through the whole thing. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So do some testing, see where it makes sense for you to put it, but definitely put a button on your website and in your emails above the fold in that first screen that they see, so they don't have to scroll to find it. Countdown timers are one of my favorite things. Oops, sorry. Countdown timers are one of my favorite things to include. And there's special pricing that you can include. There's the end of a sale happening, that kind of stuff. Minutes, days till a webinar, that's another really great one to use. Countdown timers are integrated in the Emfluence marketing platform. You can put them on landing pages, you can put them in emails. These are the one example in the back is actually on a web page. So this special offer for pricing, maybe goes on your pricing page. There's a sale on for Moo, and it's going to be over soon, and it's a 25% off offer. So include those things in your emails and create that sense of urgency with your customers. Setting goals is super important, and you want to make sure that you're setting goals before you actually implement the campaign. And the reason I say this is because when the campaign is all over, having goals already set is the way that you're going to be able to tell whether or not you were successful. So, walking down the hallway or on Slack, or somebody says, "Hey, how did that campaign go?" And if you say great, but you got one click and really you needed 15, how good is that really? Did it really perform to your expectations? So set those goals ahead of time. Make sure you know what you're trying to achieve. Make sure you know what specific measurable things you need to be aware of in order to know if the campaign was successful, and that will help inform whether or not you want to do it again. And so this slide actually starts to talk about AI, and I know Barbara mentioned AI earlier, but refreshing your content using AI. So, as marketers, we're all expected to do more with less. AI has been a super help in my job, and I also know on my team's jobs, they've been using it as well. And so taking that content that already exists, throwing it into an AI tool, your favorite AI tool, whatever that might be, and asking them to rewrite it, refresh it, bring a more modern spin to it. and then post it. And as long as you know, note that it was originally posted 2 years ago or whatever it might be, the search engines aren't going to mind. So make sure you're refreshing your content. It's a really easy way to make sure that you're publishing content frequently. It can help improve performance. It's going to help you stay ahead of the competition, and it's going to help you reach new audiences, because that first piece of content reached audiences however long ago. But now you have a new, fresh set of eyes, and you want to float that content to the top. And so it's a really great way to not have to do a heavy lift to have content on your site. The other way we like to use AI is to write social content. So you have a blog post, you have a white paper or an ebook. Throw that white paper, ebook, blog post into your favorite AI tool and ask it to write a Facebook post, an Instagram post, a LinkedIn post, a tweet, an X post, anything you need to create, and it will concisely recap what your content, your longer form content is about, and put it into a short post for social media. Now, don't necessarily copy and paste directly everything. Put your own spin on it. Make sure it's your own voice. Make sure it doesn't sound like it's written by AI, and include that in your promotion of your content. And then, Barbara, the last tip is up to you.
And it is, and I think it's almost a summary now. So Monica just talked about, refreshing the content. Revisit and rerun your campaigns. We talked about the need to do testing. All of those things. Don't just do a campaign once and then say, I need to create another one. Take a 6-month pause, look at it, look at your results, think about refreshing it, and send it out to people who didn't respond the first time. If you put the right effort into it and you have a great campaign, don't use it once and keep bringing it forward again.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that that's a super good thing to remember, is that, nothing is once and done. I think it even goes back to your original comment about creating that content hub. Don't just create one piece of content, create an area where people can consume all of the content on that topic. I think it's just a really great thing to remember, that it's in this digital space, it's not once and done ever. So we want to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope you figured out something new to implement in your campaigns at home or with your organization. If you have any questions, we are here to answer questions, and would love to hear from everybody who has joined us today. You can also reach out to me and Barbara on LinkedIn if you have any side questions you want, or connect with us. We are always willing to engage with folks who love marketing, because I think we love it as much as everybody else does. We've got a question here. What types of content do you see attract the most leads? Barbara, do you want to take that one?
No, not really. No, just kidding. People always ask that question, and it is a good one, because is it an ebook? That's where people tend to think. Is it a webinar? It really is, I think, more the overall topic and how you're approaching it. So some of the best content, again, I'm going to go back to original research, something that people can't get from other places, but also that list that I shared of the things people are looking for, most search for content. And again, visual. So I'm going to say Content Hub for the last time today. But that's really what you need, not that one single piece of content, but many different pieces of content that really address how different prospects and buyers are going to consume it. Some of us are very visual, some of us are not. I hate podcasts. Personally, I can't listen to them, but other people consume them, and it's really the best way to get that content out there.
Yep, I agree. Anybody else with any questions? We appreciate you guys taking the time. We appreciate all of you taking the time to join us over your lunch, probably, depending on where you're located. And we will be sending out the recording of this very short video, 30 tips in 30 minutes. It took us, right now we're at 37 minutes, so I think it's perfect. We had a question, and it looks like folks are starting to leave. So again, thank you so much. Barbara, thank you. Thank you to the Partner Marketing Group for joining me today. We appreciate everybody who attended, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.